Hello again everyone. Just before we head out the river, I'll tell you a wee bit about this new rod of mine. Sandy Nelson is a fly fisher and rod builder with a reputation for superb craftsmanship and attention to detail. He lives in Aberdeenshire. I knew Sandy when I lived up there but lost touch with him, as you do. One cold winter's night in 2021, I stumbled across an interview with Sandy on the Fly Culture podcast. Sandy was extolling the virtues of rods built on the new generation of American-made S-Class blanks. What was particularly interesting was his experience of fewer break-offs and lost big fish on the River Don, where he fishes with spectacular success. I contacted Sandy through Mike Barrio's Fishing with Fly website, where Sandy has his own page. I'll put a link in the video description box. So here's the deal. Sandy builds a limited number of rods each winter to special order. You contact him, and if he has a time slot, tell him what you want within the range of what he does, pay a deposit, and Sandy builds the rod for you. He even sent me a prototype to try that was so good it required only minor alterations to my preferred grip shape and a keeper ring added. I chose a plain white Livingston blank, 3-piece 8-foot 4-weight. The rod is a work of art, as I knew it would be, and casts beautifully. Livingston blanks are rolled on the banks of the Yellowstone River, which has to be worth the money itself. The rods are not cheap, but you would not expect a custom rod to be cheap, and they are nowhere near as expensive as offerings from the likes of Sage or Orbis. So anyway, that's the background to the new rod. Let's go fish with it. Right, here we are then. Let's go give this new rod a workout. I've come to the upper stretch of the river, mainly because it's much more open up here. It means I'll be able to concentrate on the rod without having to worry about getting caught in trees and stuff. It always helps. Today, it's overcast, the sun is trying to get through. It's not very warm, it's 10 degrees. Car thermometer was telling me it was 10 degrees just along there, which for the end of April is hardly toasty. But we've had a spell of east and northeast winds. At least today the wind isn't strong. Yesterday it was absolutely Baltic here. I was going to come out yesterday but decided against it. It was just very, very unpleasant. So anyhow, I'll sign off for now and I'll see you when we get to the river. Right, here we are then, a very familiar spot to those of you who watch the videos regularly. Bit of an upstream breeze, it's cold though, my goodness, it's got a cutting edge to it, that wind. So I don't see anything rising. I've rigged up with a dry fly just to see how that goes. I don't want to fish with heavy nymphs with this new rod because it's not fair It's not a fair test of the rod. It's better with dry flies, a lot more delicate and pleasurable. And you can't realise the sensual pleasure of fishing with a good fly rod when you're fishing with heavy nymphs. At least I can't. So what I'll do here is I'll get into the water and just fish blind up this pool. As I say, I can't see anything hatching or rising. And whether this cold weather, this cold snap, will have knocked things on the head or not, I don't know. I've actually been out fishing a couple of times since I published the last video and had quite a few fish. The river does seem to be wakening up. I didn't bother publishing, or I didn't bother even shooting any video. I don't video every outing. Sometimes it's nice just to come out and fish, so I haven't to worry about cameras and stuff like that. And plus the fact that you guys will probably get fed up seeing me thrashing the same bit of water time and time again. So we've really got to seek out some new places. But for today, we'll fish the usual haunts and try out the new rod and see how it goes. Got a crosswind here, unfortunately. It's kind of whipping the flies across to my left. But the rod casts nicely. But we really find to get a fish on it on its first outing. Very, very delicate. I've got Scientific Anglers Mastery Trout. It's either an MPX or a GPX taper, I can't remember which one it is. One's superseded the other. Anyway, it's a good line, a really good slick line. Though ridiculously expensive to buy. 80 or 90 quid for a fly line, it's just nonsense. Mind you, if you're idiots like me willing to pay for it, they'll charge that, won't they? So we've only really got ourselves to blame. But the rod casts beautifully. Oh, that was a rise, and I missed it. The fish just nosed the fly. I just saw the nose come up. I probably just snatched it away a bit too quickly. Yeah, there's a couple of olives starting to appear now. So hopefully we'll get a few fish rising shortly. Oh my goodness, that wind is cold though when it gets up. But in these parts, pretty much every year we get a real cold snap at the end of April, the beginning of May. In fact, the beginning of May can sometimes be one of the most foul months of the year up here. And after that, usually follows is some of the best weather of the year. For the second or third week of May onwards, right into June. Not always, but generally speaking, early May is cold and later in May is better. As you can see, quite a few flies hatching now, but still no action for the fish. There's a real flurry of olives coming down now. Be hatching up in these rapids there, but still no fish. It's probably one of the better hatches I've seen this season. But I'm going to try upstream a wee bit. Around this next corner there's a long flat with another bend and a log jam at the top of it. And it's maybe a bit more sheltered there than it is here. We'll give it a go. Well, so far the rod's been lovely to fish with. But one of the problems I've got when I try out any new rod is that I've been fishing for about 15 years on the Sage ZXL, which is a fabulous rod. So I tend to compare everything to it rather than evaluate the new rod on its own merits. I tend to default to comparing it to the ZXL, and that's a hard act to follow. So like I say, I've been fishing with that rod for about 15 years, and it's like an extension of my arm. Just everything's just right about it. And sometimes I wonder why I even bother trying other rods, because I'm so happy with the ZXL. But then on the other hand, if you don't try new things, you'll never know. And then I suppose, like most fly fishers, I'm a secret tackle tart. Right, I'll see if I can get down into the water here without drowning, and I will join you again when I'm up nearer the corner. Right, I've really got to watch the back cast here. Go. And it's gone. No, it's not. It's a comedy. That fish just dimpled the surface. It took the fly. I better get it away out of that log jam over there. My God, it's gone straight under there. I'll be able to get it out. It's come out. I'll maybe need the net for this one. That's a cracker of a fish. Oh, got him. Oh yeah, it's a belter. That's an absolute smacker of a fish for this river. Right. 2.5 pounds. So there we go. Absolutely stunning condition. 2.5 pounds. That's way above average for the fish in here. So I hope you can see that okay. I was kind of lucky to get that in there because it went straight under that log jam on the other side. That's him away. But I think that fight really took it out of the fish there. Right. Anyway, that's the first fish on that new rod. What a way to christen it. An absolutely beautiful fish, 2.5 pounds. Well now, I might as well just go home. Because there's no way I'm going to better that today. Incidentally, if you're wondering where this tyre comes from, there's no garage or anything around here who dumps their stuff. That used to be attached to that blue rope hanging to the tree there. The local kids used to come down here and swing on it, and obviously it must have broken off one day. It's pretty much embedded in the bottom there now. It's not really, it doesn't look very nice, but it's not doing any harm. It'll have a few more casts in here, but my goodness, I was lucky to get that fish in there. It was twice it was under that log jam. I couldn't stop it running under. Well, £5, tip it on. It'll leave much room for margin for error. But I got it out. That's the main thing. And what an absolutely lovely fish that was. Beautiful condition. 2.5 pounds on the nose. As I say, you don't get a lot that size in here. But a lot of people come to these wee rivers and they think they're just full of tiddlers, but there are good fish in them as well, if you can find them. Oh, the sun's out now, warming me up beautifully. A few more casts here, and then try up a bit. I'll have a few quick casts up here. This used to be one of my most productive pulls or runs or riffles or whatever the heck you want to call it. But this last season in particular, I didn't do well in this spot for some reason. Did the odd fish, but kind of strange that. Certainly seen the flies no problem here anyway. Yeah, well, that good fish, was on a size 14 elk hair caddis. It's a very, very versatile fly. Various sizes, it can represent everything from small olives right through big caddis. Tie them on big enough hooks. The work fine is a terrestrial. Great search pattern. Certainly one I can recommend. This particular variant I'm using got a glister, sort of flashy dubbed body. Glister dubbing, I hate to call it. It just makes it a bit airier. Nothing in here again, which is most peculiar. A few more casts and then we'll nip up to the corner pool. Well, the sand martins are very active today. Hopefully they're finding something to eat. It must have been pretty tough going over the last couple of weeks for them. Really weird to think that this place is almost unchanged since I was a boy in the 60s. There's always been sand martins nested there. I guess when you've known a wee river for as long as I have this one, builds up a certain familiarity, a connection that you can't get just going here and there on day tickets. It's not the greatest river in the world, but it's the one I grew up with. A lot more ranunculus in this part of the river than there is further down. There's a big bed of it there. That's It's really nice in June when it's in flower. You can see from the video I'm dead close to the village now. But you hardly ever see anyone down here. Close as it is, I just wonder what the kids do to amuse themselves these days. Sitting in front of their computers, I don't know. Guess I'll be at school today. But even when you come down here at the weekends, you never see anyone. You hear a very occasional dog walker. Right, so here we are at the corner pool. No sign of any fish rising. I'll get into the water and just fish it up quickly. There's nothing doing here at all. I'm really glad that sun's out, because quite frankly, if it wasn't, it would be too cold to fish. It would be far too unpleasant. That wind is absolutely freezing cold, right out the northeast. Right, try around the corner. So all in all, I would say the rod's a bit of a hit. Very different from the Sage ZXL. Not nearly as fast, which might cause some problems in fishing into the wind. At least I've kind of got the wind with me today. Right, I'll try up around the corner there a wee bit. There's a sheltered spot, you know, there's always a chance of a fish. It's maybe a bit too open and too cold here. Once I fish that, I'll go back down where I started, because that'll have had a chance to rest now. And it's also quite a sheltered spot. There's nothing doing when we started, but you never know. Perhaps there'll be a hatch when we get down there. I don't know. Just havering a load of nonsense. Well, I can't see anything rising in this flat here, but I'll try the run round the corner. It's sheltered on all sides with trees. There might be a few flies hatching and a few fish rising up there. It's kind of weird because I'm not really that bothered if I catch anything else now. Having caught that stoker of a fish. I know it's all downhill now. Never happy, huh? Well, it is beautifully sheltered here. In fact, so much so I think I'll just lie down and sunbathe. It's maybe just a touch early for the fish to be in this really rough water. I don't know. The water's still very cold. So no sign of anything rising. So I might, oh, that was a rise. I might try somewhere else. I've got another few rivers, not today, but rather than keep them coming back to the same place. You guys are going to get bored with seeing me whipping up the same bit of water time after time. There's only so much punishment anybody can take. I'll maybe try some of the other rivers that I have access to. It's still maybe a bit early for the mountain streams, but I've got a couple other decent waters I can fish. Just for a bit of variety. I might even have a run up to Boulder Creek, although I'm kind of reluctant to do that because it's such a long drive. I want to sort of maximise opportunity of success, it would probably be better leaving it into May. But having said that, it's May in a couple of days, so hell, if you don't go, you don't know. Oh, I can hear the cows bellowing there. Someone's upset them. No, I'm going to have another go further downstream again. There's absolutely sod all happening up here. But I haven't seen a fish move since I caught that one. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go back down. Now the cows are active, roaring their heads off there. And they've all got wee calves with them. You've got to watch this herd because there's often a great big bull in amongst them. The truth is, the bulls are less of a concern than cows with young calves. That's probably the most dangerous bovine of the lot, is a cow with a young calf. Especially if you've got a dog with you or something. My God, you've really got to watch it then. I've got no dog. But there's a calf lying in the sun somewhere and you haven't noticed it, and you get in between it and its mother, the things will often charge you. So you've got to be very, very cautious with cows, because man, you really don't want to be run over one of those. Just occurred to me there that earlier on I said I was just havering as usual, or some words to that effect. Just occurred to me that the non-Scots among you, those of you unfortunate enough not to be Scottish, might wonder what the hell's havering. It means talking nonsense, just meaningless talk, which I'm pretty good at some of the times. So the havering will continue. In fact, I think that was a line in one of the Proclaimers songs. When I'm havering, I'll be the man who's havering to you. That's poetry. So I'll sit here for a few minutes and just watch the water. The breeze is getting stronger and stronger and colder. It seems to have killed what flies there were hatching stone dead. I was actually going to go and fish further downstream today. That was my initial plan. As I mentioned earlier, I have been out fishing a couple of times since I published the last video, and I don't always film. Sometimes it's fine just to go out and fish without worrying about cameras and stuff. And let alone the boredom factor of doing the same thing time and time again. But I decided to come up here today because further down the rivers can be pretty hard, very hard going, with steep banks and a lot of vegetation and overhanging trees. So I thought, well, I'm coming out, it's not really fair to take the new road out and to less than ideal place casting wise, because I won't get a real feel for how good it is. So that's why I'm up here today. So I say I'll just sit here for a few minutes, have a breather, watch the water, and then if, as I expect, nothing happens, and I'm pretty sure nothing's going to happen now, I'll just try that surimy water around the corner, fish that for 10 minutes, and then probably call it a day. I mean, I can't complain about the result. I've only had one fish, but one fish like that is worth a dozen wee ones anyway. Absolute cracker. That's one of the best brownies I've had on this river. I've had bigger sea trout and the odd salmon way back, but I don't think I've ever had a 2.5 pound brownie before. The one I got right at the beginning of the season this year was in here actually was 2.25. It wasn't such a good fish as that. Nothing like it, condition wise and everything. So yeah, I'm pretty chuffed with that. And what a way to christen a new rod. Just brilliant. By the way, that's me havering again. Good old Scots word. Now I did rise one here earlier on, but I missed it. So, you never know. It's weird because I'm seeing olives on the water, but absolutely nothing showing. Funny things, these fish. Yeah, this really is a lovely rod. So if you're watching this, Sandy, thank you very much for knocking it up for me so quickly and fitting me in your schedule. I'm not saying I'm going to use this rod every time I'm out, but it will certainly, it won't be stuck in the tube very often. That was a good cast, right underneath that gorse bush there. Perfect drift, absolutely perfect drift, all the way down there. And not a sausage. Nothing doing at all. I've got one more spot to check out. So I'll have a wander downstream, sit and watch the water there for a while, and if nothing's happening, I'll just call it a day. I mean, I can't complain. I'm unlikely to get a better fish than that in this river this season anyway. Well, I've been sitting watching the water here for quite a while and absolutely nothing's happening. The cold northeast wind just seems to have killed it stone dead. Combination of that and the sunshine. Wind and sun are seldom a good combination. Either or, yeah, but a combination of both, I found anyway, isn't it? It's quite detrimental to the fish. You've got blazing sun and a cold wind. It's never usually very good. So I'll just call it a day at that, I think, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one, whenever that may be. I'll try and go somewhere else, I think, because it's getting a bit repetitive coming back here time after time after time. And it's just my laziness, because I live so close. I mean, I can just decide to go fishing and 10 minutes later I'm on the river. So the temptation is always there. And if I'm being honest, there are worse temptations, because it's a lovely place to come and fish. So yeah, so we'll call it a day at that. Thank you very much for watching. If you managed to stay with me this long and listen to me havering incessantly, thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next one, whenever that may be. Bye for now.